solution. It's more important than that. And it's called the theory of love. Now, theory is very simple. It just means that when you love something, you are inspired to protect it. And I don't know if I was a mermaid in my past life, but in this life I was given feet. So I learned to love the Philippine seas at a very young age. That's not one of my brothers, that's me. And I was out in the sea by the time I was about 3 or 4. I was rescuing sea turtles by the time I was 8. And I earned my diving license when I was 15. And you know what they say about us divers? Basta diver, sweet lover. So imagine how heartbroken I was when I saw this in the front page of Inquirer. And the online version was more powerful because it was tweeted 1,184 times and shared on Facebook 15,000 times. And when I was looking at the pictures from the investigation, I was crying. And I couldn't eat and I couldn't sleep. And I was thinking how it was like a breakup. But it was worse. Because boys are replaceable. But these marine resources are not. Right? And at that time, I was about to graduate college. That was in April this year. And I am not a lawyer, I'm not a scientist, and the only thing I know how to do is write and blog. So I wrote different government agencies, and one by one they replied. So DENR said, oh, it's not our responsibility, talk to PAUB. So I went to PAUB and PAUB said, oh, it's not our responsibility, go to BFAR. And BFAR said, oh, let me look into this. And then a month after they said, let me check it out. And when I uploaded all those letters, it was read at the Wildlife Enforcement Network in the ASEAN conference. And after I did Plan A, B, and C, I had a few letters in the alphabet left. So I took my case to the Senate. And I spoke at the Senate, and now the government agencies concerned consult me for environmental policy. I'm 23 years old. So so we had an offline movement going on, but we also had an online conversation. And the people who were noisier on Twitter, like me, got together on Skype. And the remarkable thing is that we didn't know each other, and we came from different parts of the world, and not all of us were Filipino, and we talked and said, what do we do? And that's how Save Philippine Seas was born. And one of our projects was the Blog Action Day, where we united Filipinos here and abroad to blog about the Philippine Seas. And that poster that you see is a gift from Team Manila as part of their viral campaign to promote Philippine tourism. A few days later, the study came out, and JV talked about it. And this study declares the Philippines as the center of biodiversity in the world. It was featured on Fox, Yahoo, and National Geographic. So if Nina Aquino said that the Philippines is worth dying for, I think it's worth dying for.
Yes.
And one of my favorite discoveries was the shark, the inflatable shark.
Wow.
And I think sharks are the most fascinating species. So I wasn't very happy when I saw this web banner in the Manila Ocean Park website. Because, you know, in a span of over 400 years, there have only been 11 shark attacks in the Philippines. And the last one was back in the 60s. And yet, we human beings kill about 70 to 100 million sharks a year. Now, this was taken in northern Philippines, where children and parents slaughter sharks together. And this is in southern Philippines, where there is an unregulated shark finning thing going on. And like I said, you know, what I lack in experience and expertise, I make up for in persistence. So I wrote Manila Ocean Park, and once again uploaded it. And the point of my letter was, for an institution that claims to spearhead marine education, you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
So, you know, why don't you just call it Shark Encounter? Because that's what it is. And in a few weeks, this turned to this. And the poster even has a little copy about saying no to shark fin soup. Now, friends, this is where we are now. The human beings, us, we are the greatest threat to the environment, but at the same time, we are also its greatest hope. And we can rewrite the story of our country from the current state of marine adversity to marine biodiversity and the center of marine biodiversity. And while we continue to plant trees and plant corals, we can also plant the world with hope. And we have to recognize the value of social media in promoting social change. And you know, people call me an environmentalist and an eco-warrior because I talk about marine conservation and global warming. But my real advocacy is this, to stop global warming. And I think the world and the World Wide Web are both very much polluted with cynicism and skepticism. And we, as social media practitioners and personalities, have the capacity to not just clean up coasts, but clean up minds and clean up hearts. So maraming salamat po.